So what's the difference between cops and thugs in my experience? Speaking from personal experience. So a long time ago, probably over 10 years ago, I was in Ventura, California. We're on the beach. I think we're on a pier, and took my fiance's siblings, me, her, and her siblings. They were young kids, probably around age 10, and so we took them to the beach, and they'd all gone in to use the bathroom, and so I was waiting for them outside, and I was wearing a pair of Jordans, white and red Carmelos, and so I'm sitting there waiting, and I got my back against the wall, you know, and I see two Mexicans approaching me. So I'm like, oh shit. So, you know, I'm watching them, and they're creeping up on me real slow, right? So they're getting closer, and I'm like, shit. Trying to figure out what am I gonna do, you know? So it's, you know, they're getting closer, and I knew shit's about to go down, right? And just as it was about to go down, they come out the bathroom. The Mexicans, you know, the kids come out the bathroom. They run over towards me. They start running towards me. The Mexicans see that, you know, they're with me, and they back off. And they change directions. So fast forward now to just maybe a couple months ago. Took my family to my fiance and our kids. Went to get we're gonna get takeout. I mean, we got takeout, but we're gonna do the drive-through at El Pollo Loco. I don't know if they have it on the East Coast. So the drive-through was closed. So I left them in the car, and I went inside, placed my order, sat down. So I'm facing, I got my back pretty much to the restaurant. I'm facing the entrance, and you know, restaurants, they got these big windows. So, and the cashier is on my left side. So I'm sitting there waiting for my order. Two white people came in, a man and a woman. You know, they placed their order, and they're talking to the owner or the manager. So I overheard the guy say that, you know, the staff had walked out that day, or they hadn't come in, so they were short staffed, just him and another female. So and shortly after they came in, a Mexican guy came in, placed his order, went over, and he's got his drink, and he places his drink down on the table next to me. So between the counter, his table, and my table. So then he places his drink down, and he goes into the men's room. He comes out the men's room, and he walks in. He, you know, because I'm facing the door, so he walks by the door. There's a big window by the door, and it's got like a blind over the window. But you know, restaurants, they have these blinds that have they're like banner ads, advertisements on them, you know. So he moves it like you move a curtain and you're looking out the window. So I'm like sitting there just, okay. So then he sits down on a table right in front of me, just like I'm looking into this camera. And I'm like, and then he starts eyeballing me. He just sits there staring right at me. And out of my peripheral, you know, I see the white guy, and the white guy is looking at me, and he's audibly, I can hear him say, that's him, to the Mexican. So the Mexican's just staring at me like this. So I'm like, okay. So, you know, I could tell by the look in this guy's eyes that he didn't want nothing. He didn't want no problems, right? And I wasn't about to get into it with nobody. You know, I got my I got my kids in the car waiting on me. You know, and I'm not that kind of guy anyways. You know, you'd have to put hands on me or something. You know, so I'm like, okay. So I break eye contact, right? I'm waiting for my food, you know. But whenever I look up at the guy, I can tell in his eyes he didn't want nothing. So I'm like, okay. So I break eye contact, wait for my food. My food gets ready. I go out the door, and there's a street, you know, there's like a major street to the right, and then there's the off street, you know, towards the restaurant, in front of into the restaurant parking lot. And right there, and it's an intersection, so there's a stoplight, and literally right at the intersection is a pickup truck, and there's a white guy sitting in there like he's documenting. Now those have been set up by the cops before. They probably know what I'm talking about. You know, so I remember listening to this lady had been raped by her boyfriend, drugged and raped by her boyfriend. So I'm listening to this, I think on YouTube. I'm listening to this, and she's describing how she wore a recording device in order to get her ex's confession. So she was working with a detective, and in the story, the detective was waiting in the car outside. She'd gone to her ex's place with the wire, and the detective was waiting in the car outside. And that's what clicked in my head, that they're trying to set me up. Difference between cops and thugs, man. Cops will set you up with your kids right outside in the car. Thugs will respect you and walk away. That's my experience.